What's up, guys? Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz back again, continuing our RWBY Set review on to Red here. I am joined, as usual, by Andy and Carmen,
What up, what up?
Hi, guys.
and we also have special guest Devin Lindsay with us today.
Yo, what's up?
So I guess let's jump right into it. Andy, start us off with this Pyrrha.
Alrighty, we got this Pyrrha, Fall Maiden's Vessel candidate. When this gets reversed in battle, you can reveal up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. If you've revealed 1 or more cards, choose a character from among them, put it in your hand. Rest go to waiting room, and then discard a card. So it is an on-reverse Rize. And when this gets reversed in battle, if your memory has 2 or less cards, you can put this card into your memory for free!
It being free is actually a big deal because it means
It's a huge deal.
the RWBY finisher, because this card is free, technically breaks conventional Weiss balancing standards. Like, the way that this normally would work out, the Pyrrha would have to pay 1 to send itself to memory. But it doesn't. It's free. Do I think that matters in evaluating the card, that it's over spec? No. But, like, it's worth noting that, like, the RWBY is technically over spec, like, because of this card being free.
Yeah.
A filter tool that goes to memory for free is definitely not the worst thing you could have. It is on reverse, though. The timing is a little bit weird.
Yeah, the timing's bad.
You aren't able to perform the filter during your main phase. You have to crash it or be crashed into. But that might be worth it to make the RWBY finisher work. Card seems pretty all right.
So I like on reverse Rizes. I think they're fine. I play a lot of Fujimi Fantasia, and it's fine. At least when it reverses itself, you don't get to see it again.
Yeah, I think deleting itself from deck is actually a big feather in this one's cap. The only on reverse Rize I've ever liked playing is the Shiroha one from Summer Pockets, and that one also deletes itself in a similar way for every copy you play. So I'll give this one a that combined with Ruby's deck speed issues. I think this one's probably pretty good.
B+? That's it?
I think on reverse Rizes are bad.
Oh, I think they're perfectly fine, and this one just yeets itself to memory for absolutely free. I'm like almost at S with this.
I think you play a lot of bad decks, and you're extremely forgiving on timings because you will put up with bad timings to play the decks and the combos that you want to play, whereas other people will just not play them because they are not good. Like you will put up with things that are not good to play what you want to play, and other people will not do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I deck build.
That's all I wanted to say.
I don't think the on-reverse Rizes are bad. I think they're fine. Honestly, if you're... We were talking about this earlier, right? You're saying that, like, there's some deck speed issues with RWBY and, like, the initial deck building. And, like, a thing that you really wish the set had was a Chiuri effect, which is when it goes to waiting room, pay or discard a card, look it up to 4, take a level 1 or higher.
Yes.
And just like even on its own, and I know I'm like probably the unpopular camp on this, but if we just had a vanilla Rize, like a vanilla on death Rize and a vanilla Chiuri, I'd play the Rize every time. I hate Chiuris. I hate the level 1 or higher Chiuris so much.
Well, on death Rize is very different from on reverse.
On reverse, well, yeah, that's what I mean. That's like what the profile is.
Oh, I think on reverse Rizes are like the absolute worst mill filter tools that you could ever play. And I would go out of my way to play things that were not on reverse Rizes if I could.
But they are mill filter tools nonetheless.
They are mill filter tools, yes, that you could play.
So it does work well in X standby and 8 standby.
Yeah, it does let you filter cards into your grave and fills your grave.
But like even putting personal preference aside, I think this is like undoubtedly a very strong card for the fact that it just has free memory compression on it for free.
It deletes itself from your deck, which is the best thing about it, because then you aren't forced to use it again to mill at bad timing. Because the mill is only
Yeah,
fine.
like I will admit, of course, like an on-play Rize is better than a on-death Rize.
Well,
Same
no,
thing with
here's-
Chiuris. Like an on-play
No, no,
Zeus
no.
is better than a Chiuri.
Here's the thing about like on reverse Rize versus Chiri that I think like there's a schism here. Like if I play on reverse Rizes in my deck,
You can still kick it during main
No, no,
phase
no,
by playing
let me
over. Is
finish.
that what you're going to tell me?
no, let me finish.
Okay.
If I put on reverse Rizes in my deck, I am aiming to play them at level 0 and on first deck. And after that, I never want to put them on the field ever again. If I play a Chiuri in my deck, I want to field it level 0. I can field it in the mid game. I can play over it. I can play it, like, crash it when I need to mill out, when clearing my opponent's board isn't a big problem versus me milling out. Like, they're just far more versatile cards that do exactly the same thing, which is mill my deck and filter my hand. So that's why I always say, like, yeah, I fucking hate these because they're objectively worse. Are they fine? Sure. But, like, we're not talking about, like, fine cards.
I
Like,
wouldn't
we're
say,
talking
I wouldn't
about,
say
like-
objectively. I
I
think there's
think
things
they are.
Rizes do better.
No,
I
I
think
don't think there's
On
a
your first
single
deck where
thing.
you're at level 0, I think I'd rather have the Rize than the Chiuri every time. Because I can grab another level 0 with the Rize.
Sure, but there are
Or
also
the Chiuri locks me into a
Well,
level 1.
no.
There's
It's
been
about the
so
timing.
many times sitting against people, and they're playing like a Chiuri at level
That's-
0,
That's
and then they like mill into a level 1, and next turn they go like 1 or 2
but
attacks.
that's only
it's
at
like,
level.
they're
That's
real shit next
that's
turn.
a drawback at level 0. Later on, that
It is,
doesn't
yeah.
matter because you can take level 1s, and 1s are costless as well.
True. The Chiuris do scale much better throughout the game.
Yeah, and I'm here to play.
But I value it like solely as a level 0 tool above
Yeah,
anything else. So
and
that's
I'm-
probably why I appreciate them more.
Well, and that's why I think this one specifically is fine because it deletes itself from your deck, so you can't use it later. So it's not a liability in your deck later. The card that is useless later deletes itself from your deck. It's the same reason I like the Shiraha. I like this one more than a typical on reverse Rize because it deletes itself from the game and it can never come back into my hand and be useless ever again once I'm on second deck. Because I think these are a lot more useless than you give them credit to be, like second deck onwards. I think they're absolutely worthless, like completely worthless cards. Unless you cancel at the top of your deck like a god, like 8 times, and you have to just crash and mill out at any means necessary. In which case, like, it doesn't matter what deck you're on. If you're on first deck, it would use it in the exact same way. Like, because this card deletes itself, it is better. Because it is not a liability later, and it removes itself from my deck, so I never have to draw it again. Same reason I like the Shiraha one. So this is better than average for an on-reverse Rize. But in general, on-reverse Rizes are objectively worse than Chiuris. And I'm going to stand by that.
Okay.
That's just my piece. That's my soapbox.
We both said it. We're both getting down from the box.
Okay, there's a better card coming up next.
All right. Are we good? Are we moving on? We done?
Move on.
Okay.
Mhm.
Brian, go ahead.
All right, we've got Nora Valkyrie, the Nora Brainstorm. When your other character's battle opponent becomes reversed, so when you score a reverse, choose one of your remnant characters, and that character gains 500 power for the turn. It is also a rest 1, 4-card salvage Brainstorm.
It's Betty.
It's Batty Brainstorm, yep.
It is a
Seen
totally
those.
fine brainstorm. Yep. Kashira. A fine brain. Nothing remarkable, but
Yeah.
nothing bad either.
Yep.
I do think it's the brainstorm that you play is the one for the set. So I
Yeah,
have to
it
give it the game on that one.
is
Yeah,
the brainstorm
that's
you play.
completely fair. Yeah.
I think
this
it's
is
plus 2.
yeah.
And plus 2, it goes right into your level 1 strat, either when you're doing choice or if you're doing TD gate. You need those reverses, so as you are getting reverses, you're able to get more power into your other lanes.
yeah,
Score
edge out
even
some
more
lanes.
reverses.
Useful at
Yep,
level
so-
2 as well. Yeah, for the Weiss one. So retains its value. That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us think it's bad or anything. I guess I just look at it. I compare it to the RWBY Brainstorms, the ones where just at climax phase you give 500 power.
Oh yeah.
And I think I like
I
those
do.
maybe a little bit better, but in a deck where you're just trying to like ramp power,
It's
like every
good.
lane is snowballing into the next lane.
It's
can get
good.
more mileage off
It's
this.
just like not remarkable. Like we saw the Hestia Brainstorm in Dalmachi, which was our most recent set review, and like that had like a very like deck build warping effect. This is just like a brainstorm you play in your deck because it's a brainstorm, and you're a traditional style of deck, so you play it. Like it's not like a very remarkable card. It's just a fine card, but that's fine because it's good. So, all right, moving on. More interesting cards. I think this is.
That's you.
It's me. Oh, Cinder. Complete Maiden powers. If the Amber Fall Maiden is in your memory, this card gets 3,000 power. 11k. On play heal. When your battle opponent becomes reversed, you deal 1 and you put that character on top of your deck. It's literally Goblin Slayer. Except it's 11k.
Solid.
Yeah, it's
I
fine.
always
It's
thought that
Yeah.
Goblin Slayer finisher was like a little bit underrated.
Seems all right. Yeah, off gate.
okay. I don't think it's anything crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely better stuff in the set, but yep, it's fine.
The 1k1 heal finisher for a and it's free. It is free, so it lets you
It is right. Mhm.
still play other stuff if you want to.
Yeah, you can spend all of your stock on Ozpin early plays and still.
It's just a
pop
power
up.
crap.
Still have money
It's
counter.
just a power crept Trouble Girl, dude. No, it does. It's not on attack. It's on reverse. I know it's different, but come on.
I mean, sure. It's okay. It's not the best. All right, next. Devin, go ahead.
Alrighty. Ruby Rose. If all your characters are Remnant, this card gets 2k power, so she goes up to 11k. On placement, heal and memory. Rest of this card's climax combo. When Ruby's Awakening is placed in your climax area, and if this card is in your center stage, and your memory has 2 or more of the Rize Pura Fall Maiden's Vessel candidate is in memory, you may pay a cost. If you do, deal 3 damage to your opponent. Choose a level 3 or lower character facing this card and put it into your opponent's clock. It is a costless Megamine.
Yep. Heal 3
Yeah,
is good.
As somebody who played a
Three's
lot
better.
of OG Konosuba, big fan. Megamine off standby, free,
Mm-hmm.
better numbers.
Is it better? I don't know. The one thing I liked about Megamine though, like I think like in a vacuum, like a burn 3 is better than a burn 4 because it's less likely your opponent's going to cancel it. But the thing I really liked about Konosuba in particular, or what felt really dangerous playing against it, was that triple Megamine combo was even, no matter how much I healed down, if I was at 3-0, that deck can just take you from 3-0 to dead, because 3 clock kicks puts you at 3-3, and then
And
if any of the 4s stick,
And they
That's
have
fair.
decompression
Death sentence.
tools. Ruby
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
Ruby doesn't have the decompression that Konosuba has.
Yeah, no Fumio, no.
Yeah.
I think Ruby does have a stock swap, do they not?
They do. Yes, we're gonna look
Yeah.
at it next, yeah.
and granted, you can still kind of get that same effect with the Ruby. Let's assuming they have 3 cards for you to clock kick, which there is additional assurance engines in Ruby to set up for that, like the Neo, which summons 2 cards under your opponent's field. So, you can set it up. You can set the pins up so you can knock them down, per se. But I guess you can still 360 no scope them the same way you could with Megamine, but you have to send them to refresh to do that. Because then you get the 3 clock kicks, the refresh point, and then if it 3 sticks. So you can still kind of do it, but it's not as guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense, you know what I mean? It's not as
Yeah.
every single time, sort of.
Yeah.
I just
It
realized
doesn't have
something.
as much reach.
When you
but-
play the climax for this, what do
Uh-huh.
you even put out with the standby?
Is
Do
there
you
like
just
a,
put out the
Blue
back
Weiss.
row? The blue Weiss back
You
row?
put a back row.
the Weiss
and just
two
say,
colors
I
on the
have
back row?
2 13Ks, go ahead? Is that the best you can do?
Rob?
I think
Honestly, maybe, yeah.
Is there a way to on climax play stand the Ruby Or no?
No.
I don't believe so.
Because then you could like, that's what I thought they were going to go for with this combo originally. Is like have something like where you stand by the ruby out, it comes in rested, then you stand it, then you immediately rest it.
It would be too good because you could do it at 2. You could do that.
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know. It's like, okay, so there's the benefits of dodging combat entirely, which, like, I don't know. I feel like that wasn't brought up enough when Konosuba was. I feel like we were the only people bringing that up when Konosuba, like, or stock soul was like a big thing.
Counter.
Where it was just like,
no
you
counters, no bullshit.
You just like completely dodged the combat step with a deck that like tried to just turn your opponent's deck into a brick with like Fumio and other shit. Like
Just make it even more interactive.
Seizure. Yeah, but like here the non-interactivity I don't think it's still a feather, but I don't think it's doing a lot. It's like not compounded on top of anything, right? It's just like, oh, I didn't generate stock this attack.
I think that probably the difference between this and the building off of that thought, like comparing this to the Megamin, right? I think the feather here is that you don't need to decompress them as much because you're burning for 3 instead of 4.
Going for 3, yeah.
So you're more likely to stick it. And then on top of that, like your combo's overstated. Like the Megamin, you had to make some accommodations to run. Maybe like it's off like a not ideal trigger, perhaps.
Stock soul. This is off a way better trigger.
This like heals on play, like, and this is understated as you said, or overstated as you said earlier with the fact that the climax combo.
It's overspec.
Theoretically, like going off of their
balancing. It's overspec. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because the pair is free.
But like I don't know, it's an 11k healer. Like that's fine for a standby deck. The non-interactive burn 3 clock kick. That's fine. It's free. It costs 1. We should look at it that way. It costs 1 because you can't play this and also play the money counter in the set because you likely will not have the stock to do so. Or like I don't know, maybe your standbys were really lucky and you have enough standby stuff to support the money counter and it's still okay. But that like requires testing, right? Like you can't say that without sleeving it up and playing it into a bunch of different matchups and like examining your thresholds and being like, oh yeah, sure, I can do double Ruby combo and support playing money counter. That's something that like, you know, you have to play it into a multitude of different decks in the meta. Try to see what happens. And make those calls after the fact. But like maybe I'll use the forbidden word. There's potential here.
There's potential. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the potential. But I think I'm with Devin. I think it's just a little bit better than like okay. I don't think it's as nuts as people were thinking it was.
Am I back yet? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're good.
All right, cool. Where did I get cut off? I forget what I was even saying.
You like finished the thought, and then I went off about a thing where I was saying like the TLDR is like the non-interactivity here isn't compounded from like a Fumio and a Seizure and a bunch of that, but it's still okay. It's still efficient. It's still quote unquote over spec. Like we might be able to support money counter and this combo, but that requires testing because you are losing a stock. The combo is pay 1 because you do not attack. So like
that's true, yeah.
You will not have the stock to like play money counter after this if you tap all the way out to play it. So like, will we be able to support it? That's something that needs tested, that needs vetted after like running it into a bunch of different English matchups and seeing how it stands up. And that's something we can't do until we have cards in our hand.
Yeah, that all like checks out. I think overall it's like a strong combo, and thankfully the card you need in memory for the effect is like something that
isn't the worst.
Is good enough to play and sends itself to memory for free.
Yeah, if you run this card, you're running the Pura, like hands down.
You have to, yeah.
You have to, yeah.
You must. You literally must, yeah.
Exactly. So that's 7 deck slots. It's fine.
It is, but it's your whole strategy, so hopefully it's enough. All right. I think we can move on.
Yeah, sounds good. I just gotta get back into our slide here.
You got a banger card here.
All right, we got
bad.
the bad bitch herself, Salem. Yeah, 1,000 power for each character in your opponent's backstage. And then when you play this from hand, you can pay 1. If you do, you get to choose one of the following effects. Either your opponent puts all their stock into waiting room and puts the same number of cards from the top of their deck into stock, or put the bottom 5 cards of your opponent's deck into their waiting room and deal X damage to them, X equal the number of climaxes. So your opponent has backstage that sits at 11k, and on play you pay 1 to either stock swap them or icy for 5.
Main phase burn is always really interesting.
And I like the versatility of it too, right? Because we were just talking about in that last RWBY card, you don't really have like a way to like brick their deck and then go for the damage.
Yeah,
This is potentially a tool to do that.
this is your decompression tool.
Mhm.
It's the only one. This is it. It's a good one. I think it opens up some interesting options, right? Because like the low deck, lots of climaxes is already a good, like, what is it? Like a good like stock swap scenario for you, right? Where like your opponent has like 6 stock and 4 deck and 2 climaxes, and you stock swap them. Like that's like a game-winning play. But what if your opponent's playing around stock swap, and then your opponent still leaves a small deck, but it's like 3 climaxes and 8 cards, and they have 3 stock, and then you say, well, sorry for you, motherfucker, and then you pay 1, you mill the bottom 5, and you hit 2, and you burn off the climax, and then you just kill them.
Yeah, I was going to actually say, because like I was saying about the RWBY on the last card, I don't know if I got cut off for this part or not, but with the Megamine, you can like, you have 3 clock kicks and then the burn 4 to deal 7 damage, kill them.
Mm-hmm.
With RWBY, you only have burn 3, so 3 clock kicks and burn 3 sticks. That's only 6 damage. But you can actually checkmate them in a sense if you have that last point of damage with the refresh point. If you can get them through the whole deck, because then you have clock kick, refresh point, one of the 3 sticks. And the very least, this is taking 6 cards out of your deck. Your opponent's 5 cards out of your opponent's deck, right?
Yeah.
So actually milling your opponent for 5, like whether you're getting a big stock swap, pushing them towards a refresh point, or breaking their deck, or even in cases where you're not breaking them with a stock swap or they don't have stock to swap, but you just mill the bottom 5 cards of the deck, and maybe get like another instance of burn damage as well on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is just all stuff that's pushing your opponent towards that refresh point and making it so that
And it happens in main.
triple combo does kill.
Like Brian said, it happens in main. So like,
yeah,
you can theoretically triple RWBY and do this.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
So you don't have any way to stock charge, so it's going to be hard. But like, I think still, I think the implications of adding this card to hand, like publicly adding this card to hand and telling your opponent, I salvage Salem. Your opponent is like, not only do they have to play around stock swap, they can't leave a small compressed deck either
You have
anymore.
to play around Icy Tail
even if they have less stock. Like, they have to be like, oh, well, I can't even pay out my stock if I can't get through my deck. If I can't get through my deck and can't pay out stock, then what do I even do? You know, it creates some interesting, like, game states, if that makes sense.
I mean, it's just the threat, honestly. You don't. I say this a lot about. I think it's stock swap effects in particular is like you don't even have to play them the vast majority of the time, but like salvaging them or searching them, flashing them to your opponent, making sure that they know it's there, is more than enough to completely change the course of the game.
Yeah, it's important.
It's like a tool. It's like the bag is more deadly than the gun, right? Isn't that the saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or like just the fact that you can show them this stock swap or this icy tail, and then it just like it keeps them honest.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Sick card. Next card.
Oh, we got Raven. Level 1, when you play a climax, this card gets 1500 power for the turn, goes up to 6k or 7k with a 1k one. And when this card attacks, choose one of your other remnant characters. That character gains X power, where X is equal to the number of your other remnant characters. So it gives up to 2k power.
Yeah, this was the Shimakai I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's okay.
Yeah, if you need to pump power, it's fine.
I think the unfortunate truth about this is that like theoretically it's a fine card, but I think it just overlaps with pretty much everything else you want to be doing at that stage of the game, whether it's the Yang clean cut or the RWBY or Jean combo at level 1 that's giving power. Those things are also giving 2000 power.
Mhm.
I think it's a way that you can board, especially at level 2 when you're involving the Weiss Schwarz as well. So if you hit you run this into the shitter lane, right? Run this into the shitter lane. You give the power to the RWBY, and you can warp your power pluses there because you're more than likely holding board. You're holding board for that turn, so you're going to be giving 2k.
But I mean, at that point though, couldn't you just run an additional copy of the level 1 RWBY, the Minami RWBY, that gives 2000 power on the reverse also?
That's
Well-
true, but if you don't have it, you don't
Yeah,
have it in hand.
I think
if they
it's
don't
like-
leave if they don't leave you a third lane and you still want to modulate, I see what you mean. It gives you like the ability to still have that power pump.
It's a
But I guess
Shimakai.
you could just play a Yang clean cut in that lane then as well though.
It's a Shimakai where on your combo turn it doesn't lose its own lane, which is like interesting, but I don't think it's good enough.
Maybe D's a bit harsh, but I
I don't think
I
I'd
think
sleeve
it's a
it.
good card, Devin. I do. I just think it like overlaps with other stuff.
I don't think
Recently-
I'd sleeve it only because of the clean cut existing. I would rather drop a 0 and just lose the lane outright to give 2k somewhere else.
Mhm.
But that's just me.
Hey.
Okay, are we good? Done with this one?
I believe so.
Okay. Alright, next card. Adam Taurus. On attack, you may sack another character on your board. And if you do, you reveal top card of your deck. If that card is a character, you draw it. It's 0-2. It's just 0-2. There are no tricks. There are no additional things. There are no additional restrictions. Like the one in Mob. It's just 0-2.
Okay, this card's really good, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yes,
you
it is
can
good.
sack off a reversed character in a lane you already crashed.
Or a character that's already attacked. It is just a coin flip for a plus. It's a pretty good auxiliary level 1. I don't know if it has synergy with like the TD combo stuff. It's also not a good attacker with the Jean that doesn't get any extra power. But it is a good card. I just don't know where
the
it
Jean
goes.
can give him the Jean can give the Adam power.
Yes, it could give the Adam power. It could send him to 8.
Which means like you could attack with one of your other lanes first.
Yeah.
Then attack with the Adam, sacrifice your lane you already attacked with.
Yeah. Like the card's definitely good. 0-2 is definitely good. I just don't know how you use it. Like 0-2 and Franks had a specific support card where on the turn that was played, if it was sacked that turn, it came back. And that card
Does RWBY not have a card
No.
that directly synergizes
no,
her?
there's no direct synergy to this card. It just exists.
Maybe you just play because it's a good card then.
Yeah, it's a
Maybe.
plus.
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, it's just fine. It's just a coin flip for a plus. Like, it's a good card. I just don't know what you use it for. Like, I don't know what deck it goes in.
Just as like a value card. You just want another way to plus. It's just
Yeah.
a good card. Maybe you have an extra spot or two, or maybe if you wanted to like play something weird without a level 1 combo, and you just want like some other way to plus. Early on
Yeah.
in the game, you just play like a bunch of the like plussing level 0s, like a bunch of runners and clean cuts and shit, and then Adams is like your plussing engine per se at level 1, and then maybe that opens you up to run a weird climax lineup. Maybe
Yeah, sure.
is there maybe a standby deck that does that? I don't know.
Possibly.
Mm.
I honestly, I don't know. Knee-jerk reaction is that I don't think it's that good because I feel like you do want to hold board, but I do see the implication of getting that random plus, especially when you're doing with other on-reverse combo decks.
Yeah, it's just
Or
like
if you
a
just-
random non-interactive plus, right? If you hit.
Yeah, I mean, I see it as like if you're in a position where you can't win board and you're crashing already, then it turns that crash into a potential extra plus for you.
It's definitely good with the Cinder, where you're literally never winning board at level 1, even against other costless decks, probably. That deck is suffering.
Excellent. So you just chuck it, call it a day.
Yeah, you just play this card and you just crash everything in. Okay.
All
We
right.
good?
Mhm.
Done with 0-2?
Mhm.
Okay, next.
We good.
Devin, go ahead.
Devin, yep.
Amber, Fall Maiden, 0/0. During your turn, this card gets 1,000 power, so it's a 3k. Pay 1, put a card of your deck into your clock. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pay cost. If you do, choose one of your remnant characters in your waiting room and return it to your hand. It is a drop. It's a drop salvage Ricky.
Yep.
It's better Krista, right?
Yeah, it's just 3k Krista.
3K Krista, yep.
And
You-
wasn't this a condition for the
For the Cinder, yes.
Cinder?
Yep.
How does this card get into memory? Does another card put her there?
There are 2 other cards that put her there. We will see them shortly. One is a level 1, the other one is a level 2.
Krista seems like a very fine profile, though. If you need a
Yeah, card's totally playable.
an extra
playable.
not Ren Ricky, this is
I mean, when
probably more in your color most of the time, anyway.
you play this in the decks where you need to play it in the slot of the Lyran. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else to say about it.
No,
You just
it's a
you just
Ricky.
you just begrudgingly play it because the other one is probably better. But whatever. Okay, back to Andy.
Oh.
All right, we got Zwei.
Spy.
Mhm.
It's Spy, the dog.
Zwei the dog. I love how they made the character that name. By the way, it's a Cowboy Bebop reference. I love it. Like instead of Ein the corgi, you have Zwei the corgi.
Mm-hmm.
1 and 2 in German. Weiss Schwarz.
Nice.
Wild.
I don't know. I always thought that was hilarious. Anyway, this dog. When this is placed on stage from hand, you mill 2 cards. If there's a climax among them, you can discard a card. To search for a remnant character. And then when you play him, you can pay 1, discard. If you do, choose a remnant character in your waiting room, return to hand, choose one of your characters, give it 1,000. So it's like you have the drop salvage, like a normal drop salvage, give it 1,000 power, and then you also have mill 2 cards if you bend a climax, free drop search.
Yeah,
So it's like a double search
Yeah.
in
this
mill
is-
2.
This is literally the eye promo from Nijigasaki, I believe, right?
The eye was a double drop salvage.
Yes, this one hits both zones.
Oh,
I think-
okay. The first one's a search. Yeah,
This
yeah.
card fucking slaps. I don't know if in a deck like RWBY where everything seems to be salvage that I want my deck access to be random.
Well, I like the fact that it lets you access both zones.
But like it is good. I just don't know if I don't know what RWBY deck this goes in where, or maybe the Cinder decks where your brainstorm is search. You play
Maybe.
this instead.
I think
Definitely
you could
better
just.
on
I
second
think you
deck.
could just slap this into any RWBY deck. This card's great.
Maybe,
Yep.
but I don't want my deck access that's already not very existent to be random. I would want, does that make sense? I would agree with you completely if the drop, salvage, and search were flipped, where the drop search was guaranteed and the salvage was random. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, I get
Yeah.
you. I think it'd
Yeah.
be probably a little bit better then, but I mean,
That's why I've
search
been
brainstormers are quote unquote random as well, right?
Yeah, I've been just slotting the Yang because I want my guaranteed search access because I'm a little bitch and I don't like random shit.
I like my dog shout out cannons.
It is a dog shot out
Yes.
of a cannon in the SR.
No, he's actually just baseball bat. Gets a home run with him. Kills 2 robots. Hog.
Yeah, it's sick. I love Zwei, but I think as I feel like these drop searchers, drop salvages are usually more like one of tech card, like one of like tech cards that you can grab when you need them. Right. That's how I like to look at them usually anyway. And I like this is why if he, let's say he is like a one of ditch out, one of hand filter sort of card. The fact that he hits both zones is just like really premium to me. The fact that he gets to do 2 potentially is really, really nice. And you can order them however you want too. So even if like, let's say this is going to put you to a refresh, you can do your salvage first and then do the mill for this mill effect or whatever. Or like you can stack those however it benefits you the most.
You get 2 level 1 combo. One from this effect.
You could.
It's
That
got a
is possible.
Stack into a climax.
I think the card's fine. I think I'm in agreement. I'm just like, I think I would just play the Yang drop search because I want my deck access to be guaranteed. Just in this set specifically, where it's a lot of salvaging.
That's why he's so much cuter.
But he is good.
Oh look, he's even Team RWBY also. He made it. He's on the squad.
He's on the squad.
He's got RWBY trait, yeah.
Alright. We good?
I think so, yeah.
Alright, whose card is this?
This is mine.
Right.
We've got a 2/1 counter. Crow, 2500 power backup. When you play the backup, you can pay 2 and free fresh as a good card. Free fresh counter.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Good to have. Gets you out of rough spots.
I have played a lot of Data Live Choice Standby, and I absolutely love this profile.
I think free freshes are like, is it weird to say free freshes are overrated?
I don't think so, because they're pretty niche in use, but when they're good, they're really good.
Yeah, when they're good, you win. You like have a chance at winning the games you would never be able to win anyway, which is why they're a good defensive counter.
I think,
but I think
they're overrated. Like when you see like decks that run free fresh counter, right? If the set has access to free fresh counter, they usually just run free fresh counter. It's usually not even like a contest.
Yeah, they run it. I'm just saying it's like, I think the use of free fresh counter is like maybe overrated, right? I think I've had this discussion with Dean before, and this is one of the rare times I'm in full agreement with Dean. I think a lot of people use free fresh counters in a way that's like, they don't understand the like weird Fugazi value of like free fresh counter, right? Where it's like, I still have climaxes in my deck. I might take damage. I'm going to free fresh counter because my compression is quote unquote bad. And then the next turn I can't do anything because I spent all my refreshes on free fresh counter. I think I think people use free fresh counter a little bit more liberally than they should. Where they just go, my compression is not optimal, I will free fresh counter because my chances to cancel are better. And I think
you just gotta think about the next turn too. Like how's it?
Well, yeah. It's just a comment I wanted to make where it's just like I think people go like oh my god, free fresh counter amazing. I free fresh counter and then I triple cancel, and I was like, yeah, you can also free fresh counter and then eat 7, and then you paid 3 to do nothing. So it's like your free fresh counter is for when you're out. For when you're dead to rights.
Right, exactly.
You know? Yeah, and that's what they're for. And I feel like they're used in not that way.
Yeah, because I mean, when people, free fresh willy-nilly to slightly increase their compression, but they cripple their next turn or 2 for the rest of their game, that can be devastating to the player using the counter too, especially if they don't get the cancels they're looking for after they're free fresh.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because I feel like that's something I've seen a lot recently, like online and whatever. Like,
definitely in agreement there.
It's a good topic.
Definitely better in coterie style level 1, but yeah.
No. Yeah, that's like a whole video in itself. Like, when do you free fresh counter? Like,
that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a good video. Draft that one up. Think about that over the holiday. Be a good video. All right, next card. Cinder, infiltrating Beacon Academy. It is a level 3 or higher assist in front for 2k. When you play it, as long as your memory has 2 or less cards, you can choose an Amber Fall Maiden in your waiting room, put it into your memory. And at the beginning of your climax phase, as long as that Amber is in your memory, you can choose one of your characters and give it 1500 power until end of turn. So it is a 2k assist that can bump an additional 15 with the memory condition that it fulfills on its own. Pretty good card for the Cinder deck.
I like
That is
it, yeah.
a dope-ass card.
Yeah, this card is like one of the only reasons I think I would consider the Cinder top end ever. Because like it helps the Cinder get reverses. It's a really good like mid-game card just to slam down for any of your early plays to like challenge standby and win board. And it fulfills its own condition.
Carmen, have you ever thought of this actually for your Door standby deck?
What, just playing this?
Well, yeah, like like an issue you can run into. Maybe you can't really run the Rize with this Amber because like they get sent when you have 2 or less. So if you kind of like clog your memory up with one, you might not get the other one in there. But maybe in like you don't have to play this in a Cinder deck necessarily. You could just play this in like
I thought about it.
Say Door standby. Just use the Amber
with
as
the
your
Pyrrha
Wiki,
combo,
use
right?
Assist.
I've thought about it. Yeah, I think the Jean is actually better for the Pyrrha because it gives the Pyrrha hand on core. Because once hand on core is out on the board, especially because the Pyrrha also pumps 15, so it's more power overall, like constant.
Okay.
I think for non-Cinder decks, you don't bother playing this.
It is
a cool option.
Maybe in a deck, you could play this in a non-Cinder deck. You could play it with a different top end. Maybe not with Pyrrha. Pyrrha probably wants the Jean.
Yeah.
But maybe if you're playing some other top end, maybe if you're playing like Yang or Blake or Weiss or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot of power.
You know what I mean?
It's a lot of power.
Like you can play this in any deck, but it means you probably have to give up the Rize.
If it puts you at the right threshold, this is like a completely reasonable card that has a completely reasonable quote-unquote drawback to enable. I think I'm with Devin. I think I like that. I think it's like it is a totally playable card that has a very specific benefit that has a very specific quote-unquote drawback. Because I think not playing the Lyren is a drawback. Because I think that card is legitimately good.
No, I'm not talking about the Lyren. I'm talking about the
no. I'm talking
red.
I'm talking about the opportunity cost of playing Amber over Lyren in your like clock plus
if
slot.
you're playing this, you're playing Amber instead of Ren. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a fair trade-off if you're making use of the
Cinder. I mean, yeah, as long as you're making
it.
use of it, yeah. I think it's a good card. And I think it makes the Cinder finisher like actually something you might want to build towards. Is this card. Because I think this card's actually good. I'm in agreement. I'm just not as jazzed.
Also works with, I was going to say, it also works with the Gwenda too, so you can splash yellow in there.
Yeah, you can bump anything. You can give the Glenda extra power to get over.
I can't help it, guys. I'm just a Cinder simp.
Damn.
I'm a simple man.
Cinder is a good character.
I don't know anything about Cinder.
She's
voiced
cool.
by Jessica Nagiri. I'm very sad she doesn't have an SP.
No, she doesn't?
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't.
Oh,
Just Team RWBY.
my heart.
Wait, is that the cosplayer?
Yeah.
The blonde one? Well, whatever.
Just go to a convention where she's at. Find your double rare.
Get your own SP.
Get my own SP, yeah.
I just got my mob SP at
Dude, I'm just going to take my fucking
Wait, did you really?
I'm going to go to Rooster Teeth's fucking headquarters and just go in and be like, yo, sorry.
What character? What character?
Kyle McCarley, the English voice of Mob, was at Tech. I got my...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick for the 2-1. Yeah, you'll have to. You have to send a picture. That's awesome.
Yeah, let me dig it out here.
Yeah,
I can send one. But
that's
continue.
Awesome. We'll put that in the description. You can look at Brian's SP. I'll link it. All right. Whose card is this? This is Devin's. Go ahead, Devin.
Yep. RWBY embarking on a new journey. 2/2. 6/5. When this character gets 2k power for each of your other remnant characters in your back row, and card attacks, look at the top card of your deck, put it on top or bottom, or put it on top of your deck or into your waiting room. It's Salem. It's pretty sick. I really like that on attack surveil. So I might have a little bit of a bias towards this.
I think it's better in an 8 standby deck than a.
That's the same exact thing as
deck.
the Milam, right?
Yeah, it's the same card. think it's better in a 8 standby deck than 4.
Come on, it's still a good standby target.
I think in
And 5 standby target, I like it.
I think in X standby, I think you're running the Yang. 8 standby, you're running this, or a mixture of the two. Like
I
2 of this and 3 of the Yang.
I gotta remind myself what the Yang did again.
I think it really depends on the Yang is just a 10k hand on core. I think it really depends on what power levels the 8 standby RWBY deck can threaten. If the 8 standby RWBY deck cannot challenge the other standby decks in the meta, you will. If you choose to play 8 standby RWBY, you should play the hand on core. Because if you can bump enough power to beat over, if your opponent runs you over on the backswing, you can at least hand on core and do it again. I think it's completely dependent on your power thresholds.
How are you not having enough power to like win board, right? You have a bunch of really dope level assists.
No.
And back row supports. You have the Pyrrha in the front row.
No, Andy.
What?
This is, if we're talking about other standby decks, we have to unfortunately talk about 8 standby Mushoku. I don't want to. But by the time this deck is played in English tournaments, if you are choosing to play 8 standby RWBY, you have to consider the power lines of every other standby deck that exists. Because if you're going to play an 8 standby deck, you are playing 4 board. So if you're not playing the biggest 8 standby deck, you should just not play that deck. Like, straight up. Like, that's just my opinion on it. If you are not playing the biggest 8 standby deck, you should not play 8 standby at all. You should just trash that deck and play something else that you have if your deck is not big enough. And if
okay,
RWBY,
well, what's the? I guess every 8 standby deck's good at pumping power. So like,
yeah,
I guess, like,
it depends.
What the
like,
thresholds you need to hit.
Yeah, that's my only opinion on this card. I think this card is good if your 8 standby deck can meet the proper threshold. So it's just a C. It depends. It depends on, you got to crunch out the numbers versus every other standby deck. That's your life as a standby player. You crunch out the numbers versus every other deck, and if it works, it works. The secondary effect is good. Not going to deny that.
For us hybrid standby players, I like this like probably better than the hand-on core. I don't know. I just like, if you're playing against non-standby decks, you should be winning board.
Wait,
on the
why?
merits of playing standby.
Wait, why do you like this better than the hand-on core for 4 standby? Because in 4 standby,
in my experience, I find that like the hand-on core on my 2/2s doesn't really come up a whole lot. I feel like
you are incredibly
either
lucky
losing
then.
board or like winning board by a lot.
Well, if you're losing board, you should use your hand-on core to turn your 2/2 into your costless card in hand into a soul beater.
Into a 2-soul, I guess, but then I'm losing board on the swing back into them probably too. So it's like,
well, not in every lane, right?
Bigger. True, I guess so. Yeah, not in every lane.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess maybe it's just personal experience, but I think I value like the more aggressive effect than
for
just,
both.
Like,
both this and the Yang, they both have power conditions that do not punish you for playing a hybrid standby strategy, which is nice. Mm-hmm. They are both better in that regard, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I totally see where you're coming from. I guess it's just like personal preference for me, but
yeah, I get what you're saying. All right, we can move on. Next card, next meme. Andy, back to you.
Back to the top, we got Pyrrha Nikos. If this is in your center stage, everybody in the club gets 1500 power. And climax combo. During your climax phase, when this card is placed onto the stage by the standby, before you go to attacks, you can pay 2, sacrifice the standby, stand this card so it can actually attack that turn, and then choose X cards equal to the number of characters on your field in your opponent's waiting room, and then shuffle them back into your opponent's deck. So one of the big drawbacks of standby is you can't attack with the character you put out that turn. The Pyrrha lets you stand her and attack immediately, all while pumping herself and everything else on your field, and you get like a nice little decompression effect to help you stick some big damage on your opponent, hopefully. Seems like a Really, really good card. Probably one of the best finishers in the set.
A mid-game shuffleback combo will constantly be putting your opponent on edge. They cannot leave a one-card deck at any point. It forces them to like have climaxes not go back. Forces them to make plays to mill out. Because eating even like just 5 damage that they shouldn't, right? Off of like this is just enough to win the game out of nowhere. So you're constantly putting your opponent on edge. I would normally be like, this card doesn't do anything when it attacks. I would be that guy. But putting a 1500 global on board standing on your first level 2 turn is actually a big fucking deal for a standby deck.
Increasing your chance of sticking clean damage from your attacks already.
You have ways to give this card hand on core, even if your opponent does run it over, you can keep it around. Unfortunately, it doesn't stack like Rushia. You're not like shuffling 4, shuffling 8, shuffling 12. You're only doing 5 at a time.
Yeah,
but then you're also playing standby. You
and
get
it's like
additional
guaranteed
cards.
too. Like,
Yeah,
you gotta do it immediately, like the first turn. Rushia, you gotta like kind of wait a turn maybe.
Yeah, Rushia, you
Right.
kind of want to wait one turn to put out another one, then start going off into your modular shit. This is just like straight up, I'm shuffling stuff back. Like, get ready to eat some big swings. Yeah, I think I'm in agreement. This is where I'm starting with RWBY. This is the most interesting, quote-unquote, top end to me. This is something that, like, only one other set in the entirety of Weiss Schwarz even tries to do, and it's different enough for me to be interested in it. Like, only Rushia Hololive is shuffling back cards at 2, and this is different enough for me to want to, like, mess with it.
For sure.
For what it's worth, too, I absolutely love the like in hybrid standby. I love the big like the 3/2s that in center stage pump themselves and everything else 1500.
15s, yeah.
Yeah.
Fake Grand Order. I play that card in it. And it's like it's a really nice incidental standby target too, right? Because you swing with your weakest lane first. And then, like, if you just so happen to trigger a standby on your other attacks, you can just throw another one of these out into your front row, which, because it pumps itself, it itself is a wall, and then it turns everything else into even bigger walls.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you get lucky and trigger a standby, you can, like, really, really put yourself ahead.
Yeah, it can really get nasty really quickly.
And it gives the power to itself, so unlike the Benimaru, it can get even bigger.
Exactly, yeah. So with 2, because like you're standbying a Pyrrha with the combo, of course, right? So you can do the effect. But then and then you swing with your weak lane, and like if you trigger a standby in your attack step, you then just pull another Pyrrha out of your waiting room, put it over top of the character you already swung with, and now your Pyrrhas are sitting at 13k.
You have Jean down, that's
Plus your
13.5. You get another Pyrrha down, that's 15. Like, it can get really big really quickly. So even for a 4 standby deck, that's pretty threatening. And I think that's worth messing with. Especially because since this happens at level 2, you open up a lot of other stuff. Like, this is a great card to play with Money Counter. This is a great card to play with all of your great off finishers in RWBY. Like, it opens up all these other slots for you to do other things that are like a good player deck. It's like such a bad way to put it, but like, you know exactly what I mean. It's like I have Money Counter, I'm holding up Money Counter, I'm holding up this like toolbox of off finishers. If you do the wrong thing, you're dead. So don't fuck up, don't trigger too many climaxes, don't do the wrong thing, or I'm killing you. Like, kind of deck.
I don't think it's like a bad player deck versus a good player deck, but it's one of those things where like defensive cards, as a control player, let me tell you, using defensive cards can be a bit more challenging than like aggressive cards sometimes. You know what I mean? Like if you're just going for triple RWBY combo and just going for that epic victory royale, the 3 clock hits and a bunch of burns, it's like pretty straightforward, right? But you gotta like kind of finesse a money counter or like free fresh counters sometimes.
I think it's more just like you get to hold up all these options.
It lets you play more. You're not playing as linear of a game plan. You have more options.
It's a more skill testing.
Yeah, it's like you're putting your opponent in check in more ways, right? Like, You're
Yeah.
saying like, hey, I'm checking you this way. Don't leave a 1-card deck. Don't rely on your on reverse or end of attack finisher working. Like, don't rely on this. Don't leave me cards to kill with my like Misakuro. Don't leave me this. Don't leave me that because I will kill you. Like, I'll trip into this. I'll trip into that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just a more defensive play style if you like that.
Opens up the lines, and that's what I like about the card. Big fan. Does have some unfortunate matchups, I think, in English. Notably, Hololive. Every time I think about this card, I think about sitting down versus Rusia, and I just want to off myself every time I think about the matchup.
Just play a backup.
I guess, right? It's like it's
Just
gotta
put
be.
counters in your deck and play them. Put your green Ozpin counters in.
I think you
play
need
'em.
more than that. The powers don't match up.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
Rusia's obnoxious. All right, next card. Brian, right?
Sure.
Yep.
We've got level 3, RWBY Vital Festival. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, you may salvage a character from your waiting room. Then at the end of this card's attack, you may pay 2, ditch 2. If you do, burn 2.
I like it.
Pretty
It's
solid
like
off
it's
finisher,
like
yeah.
Liz. It's like this card is like the Liz from Thou.
I mean,
Uh,
two's a good number. Being able to choose whether you want to burn or not after you see whether the attack sticks is pretty relevant.
Doesn't even
You
need
can
a
also-
reverse. Doesn't need anything weird.
You could also pair this with the Yang finisher. Like I think I like this a bit better than the Weiss off finisher. The Weiss restander. It's the same cost. But I think the second effect on this is better. Being able to, I think an on-play salvage is better than like the
Oh yeah, for sure.
5k power for the turn that the Weiss gives you in more circumstances probably.
This is one of the off finishers that I keep referencing. What I like about this card in a deck where you play money counter, similarly to the ones that like Garasal and shit would play, is that you play this, you trip into another card. You can trip into another card selectively, whatever you want to do to build out your finishing board. And because this card is at the end of the attack, it's even better because I get to swing, and if my opponent is a sack and cancels, and I'm not going to kill them with the burn 2, I just go ahead, and then I hold up my money counter to like 2-turn them. But if it does stick and I have the opportunity to go for game, it's
can.
because at the end of the attack I can.
I really like that too.
Yeah,
Actually,
I think it's very like people read this card because like I don't know, there was a card that was revealed on the side of the box or something that used art and it was different, and like I do think this card ends up being like very good for the set because it's like a selective cantrip, and then it lets you hold up the money counter at the end of the attack. I think that's really good.
Yeah, I like that a lot actually.
All right, we can move on. Next card. Okay, we got the Cinder. It is pay 1, ditch a character. Check up the top 4, add 1 to hand. Ditch the rest. You do not have to reveal the card you took. It is a Rumia profile.
You could use this instead of the Yang also. Instead of the Yang drop search, you could play this. Feels
What?
a similar role.
No,
Top 4 of your
No.
deck is
Placed on
not-
stage from hand.
no, this allows you to get into your standby finish.
Yeah, grabs your climaxes, grabs events is more what you're looking for with this, I feel like.
Well, I mean, it fills the same role as like filtering your hand, like from
Sure.
your deck on stage placement.
You can only ditch characters with this, by the way. So drop search also lets you get climaxes out of your hand.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Hmm.
I don't know. I like Rumia profiles, but
Yeah, I generally like this profile, especially if you've got climax or an event you're digging for.
It events allows you to get your money counter, which
Yep.
is an event. So
Mhm.
get your climax. I think it's a 1-of profile.
I don't like Rumias. I don't like Cosmos. I think they warp your decision making in bad ways. I think they're like bad monkey patches for other problems in your deck. And then if you find yourself running these cards, you need to like examine the rest of your deck. But like that's just my opinion on it. I don't like playing a card to the field where I pay 1, I commit a card, I pay 1, I discard a card, and then I check 4, and then based on that check 4, I make decisions on the rest of my turn. I would rather like make decisions at the top of my turn and not like pre-do things, if that makes sense.
That's fair. I mean, I know Tyler really likes this profile, but Tyler's a sack, so...
Yeah, Tyler always gets what he wants in the top X cards of his deck. I've never seen him not.
Well, I mean, you only put cards in your deck that you want to see, and I mean, sometimes you take sometimes you settle for something. It's like, how comfortable are you, like, rolling the dice on something, seeing what happens, then reassessing from there? If you're someone who, like you, Carmen, who wants to like make a decision like from the top of the turn down and say, okay, this is the entire plan for the whole turn, right? Leaving nothing to chance.
Yeah,
totally
it's like a panic button card to me, and
it's the trade-off, right? This lets you potentially draw into more cards than Drop Search would let you, right?
Yeah,
this can draw you into characters, events, or climaxes. But unlike a Drop Search, it's not guaranteed. So
maybe since
floor versus ceiling, Carmen.
Maybe since RWBY has like no access to like decent top check X, this card you're forced to play.
Also, first deck speed.
I guess.
Yeah, it is.
It is. It's 4 cards.
It gives you 4 cards. It helps you potentially set up for your level 1 combo. Grabs a climax. Grabs a combo, or grabs, I don't know, anything. It's fine.
Did you 1/1? Did you 1/1 or 1?
Yeah, gets the things you don't want to play from hand out of your hand and standby.
All right, we good? Next,
we good.
Okay, Devin, go ahead.
All right, RWBY life-changing scene. When this card is placed on stage from hand, look at the top card of your deck, put it into your top deck, or put it back on top of deck, or into your waiting room. So it's Surveil, and then pay 1 digit climax. It's a climax swap.
A good one. Almost as good as the top 2 rearrange ones, but not as good, but it's still great.
You like climax swap?
You got Surveil, you got climax swap. It's a slam dunk for Andy.
What's not to love? Yeah.
Climax swap and it's 5-card brainstorm.
Yeah, card's great.
Indeed.
Back to Andy.
Alrighty, next card. Cinder leading a Grim Invasion. During your turn, this card gets 2k. When you play it from your hand, if you have 2 or less memory, you can choose the Amber Ricky in your graveyard, shove it into your memory. And when you attack, if you have Grim Invasion Climax in your zone, put the top card of your deck into waiting room. Choose up to 1 level X or lower remnant character in your waiting room, add it back to hand. X is equal to the total level of the cards put into your waiting room by this effect.
Deck speed.
Now, I do have a question about this. The wording is a little bit weird.
It is a cigarettes for 1.
Does it accumulate? So my second Cinder, I attack, I mill a card.
No, it's a different effect.
No.
I would assume not, at least, yeah.
No, the answer is no. This is a cigarettes for 1. I know you're reaching because you want it to be better, but it's bad.
Well, I kind of am, because a cigarettes for 1 is like, why would they make that? What's the point?
Because
of it?
It sends the card to memory.
They already printed.
Yeah, but that's
too. So why?
That's taken. the sending the card to memory is taken into fact.
Oh, I agree.
The power conditioning and stuff.
This
on
card
it.
makes
why
no
is the climax
sense.
combo stuffed?
No, I agree. This card makes no sense.
You know what I mean? And just the way it's worded, like, I just can't tell if they're using like a standardized wording that they use for every card.
They are.
Or if they meant for it to be able to like accumulate, because then it would be like.
It's standard wording.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
It is a card that you can. I don't even think this is much worse than normal cigarettes. I've played Yu in Assault Lily, which is it does it twice for what it's worth. But I have done like selections off of 1 mil. And it's fine. It's not great. But I think the thing that kills this card for me, this card's a 6k with Climax combo.
Yeah.
It's not even 5k cross turn. You will never win board with this card. If you are playing this card at level 1, you are crashing board against like costless cards. You are like tying some costless cards. That's cringe. This card is not based. This is cringe.
Yeah.
Even then, I don't think it's the
shame.
worst.
I mean, I guess for an uncommon, it's a good uncommon.
If you are playing the
Why
Cinder
not?
deck, you get to play 8 Door, you get to play the 5-card Brainstorm. This does put your thing in memory, so you don't have to worry about it costlessly. It is an on-attack plus in combo that you can continue to play throughout the game. It's utter garbage power-wise, means that you can pair it with the 0-2, because it's never winning board anyway. And maybe sack some extra pluses off the top. I don't think
you could just use it with
yeah.
the Atom, right?
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's super unplayable bad. It's just like, why? It could have done anything. Like, let it do something else. Like, are they really afraid of memory this much that this has to be a 6K because it sends a card to memory? It just reads as, like, design fear. Like, this card could have been, even as an uncommon, it could have been pushed a little bit more to make the Cinder deck more attractive.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they decided not to. They decided to
Yeah.
pussyfoot about it.
I mean, the combo, the cigarettes for one, it just feels weird to me. It feels like it was originally something else, and then it was changed, like, late in development.
Yeah, like, maybe they were going for, like, what I was saying. I just feel like that would make a lot more sense. I don't have an issue with the power condition of the memory. It seems appropriately statted to me. It's definitely not a pushed card, but it seems appropriately statted. Like, it seems like a fair card. But
It's very. Oh, go for it.
I was just gonna say, like, the statting on it, I don't have an issue with. It's just the climax combo being just a scuffed version of the cigarette combo that the penny already has.
It feels
It's
bad.
just like it so feels bad.
Yeah.
Like I would rather this card be worse, but do something like
different, yeah.
novel. Fuck, I'd rather just be an on reverse search, like just a normal fucking Shimikai or something that did something unique.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything interesting, which is the problem.
It's like the Betty level 1 combo from ReZero, except it can hit even if you hit a climax, you just grab a level 0 instead. It's not as selective.
It's not even that the combo's bad. It's that it's like a lost design space, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It feels bad.
Such a waste on a nice looking art too.
Yeah.
One of the better arts in the set, actually. There.
All right. Next.
Is this me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. We've got Uniform Pira, level 1. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, if you have 2 or more other remnant characters, you may draw 1 card. If you do, choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. When this card becomes reversed, if you have 2 or more other remnant trait characters, this card's battle opponent is level 1 or lower, you may reverse that character level 1 bomb. And when this card is put into your waiting room from the stage, if your memory has 2 or less cards, you may put 1 Pira Fall Maiden's Vessel candidate in your waiting room into your memory. So
this
on
is
death,
your payoff card.
On death adds the Riaz to memory. It's a level 1 bomb. And it's draw ditches. Seems pretty solid.
That is 3
Look,
good
Carmen,
lines of text on one card.
You don't even need to play the Riaz. You can just play this Pira and send the Riaz.
Thank fucking God. I think this is a big reason, like, the RWBY deck feels like better to build than like the Cinder deck or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this card existing.
And this one is a level bomb as opposed to the Oobleck, which was a cost bomb. So this one is significantly better into standby.
Yeah, I think this card's great. It has 3 lines of text, all of which are fine. Cards with this much text are good, usually.
We love words.
Yeah, we love words. The more words, the better.
We love reading.
We love to read.
We love Subaru.
All right, next card. This is a 1/1 standby target. It's Silica. Well, it's better than Silica.
It's RWBY on guard.
This is the best 1/1 profile because it always has hand on core. There's 2 or more other to get power.
Well, if you're playing standby, it seems fine to me.
You play it if
I
you can play the standby.
Fuck, where's my delete button?
It's fine. All right, next.
Yep.
Devin, go ahead.
All right, we got a Uniform Nora. If you have 4 or more remnant characters in play, this gets -1 level in hand. And when she's placed from stage from hand, this card gets 4/5 power and the following ability until the end of your opponent's next turn. During this card's battle, all players cannot play backup from their hands. It's a president.
Wow, is that president?
Wow.
Ish.
Back
So
in the
good.
day, they used to call this card Sayaka early play.
But now you get to
Back
call
in the
it
day, that
Link
was like a
Casket.
few months ago. What are you
Yeah,
talking
it
about?
was a few
Did
months
this set
ago.
come out like last year?
We call it
This
we
year?
call it Konbaru from
Yeah,
Naruto.
Kombaru. Yeah, I mean, it's probably calling it Kombaru is probably most apt because that's the oldest one, right?
I think so.
I mean, this is
Yeah,
fine. 4 or more other kill your opponent's shit. Your other early play is 2 or less. Spoiler alert. Combining your early play conditions is good, especially when your other is a heal to stock. It's fine.
I like these profiles. I like them a lot, but like just comparing it to like the other stuff they printed on similar profiles, right? You have Sayaka who like
Yes, it
gives you
doesn't do
bonds for your
anything.
wish event for free.
Doesn't
It
do quite
heals
enough. Yeah.
Shirogane heals and clock
This
kicks.
is uncommon.
The ice and Donmachi.
This is
Hexproof
just
is
Nora.
bigger than everything.
This is just Nora, dude. He's
This
just
is
uncommon.
just an uncommon Nora.
He's just uncommon. Fine.
He's on top of a stack of lunch tables.
Can't make the uncommon too good.
Oh, wait, the last card was really good, or I mean, the one before.
Sure. Wait,
But-
that card was a rare. No, it was an
You get-
uncommon. What the fuck?
All
I mean,
the
you know how we
uncommon
rate
cards
cards here.
have-
We don't rate based on rarity. We rate on.
I know.
goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I still think
No,
it's
we rate on
it's a
potential.
it is a fine card for a standby focus meta that you might want to play, which is why I gave it the C+. You might want to play it.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the top.
Oh, we got this sexy crow. Ooh la la.
Is that how you say it? Crow?
Yeah, crow.
Bro.
Crow,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
How
Fucking-
how would you pronounce it?
Who fucking wrote this? Fucking 12-year-olds.
Yeah, he's edgy. That's why it's spelled with a Q.
Yep.
All of your all of your opponent's characters get Encore 2. And when you play it, you can choose a card in your hand, put it in your stock. Solid one of, like, I know it reads kind of weak, like, oh, it's just like a 3500. Like, you just ignore the first line. The Encore 2 thing doesn't matter. But, like, okay, 003500, why would I play it? Like, when would I actually want to put a card from my hand into stock? You don't want to do it all the time. But I really like these cards splashed in as, like, a one of, just because, like, in situations where you're like going for a kill turn, if you have like a finisher that requires a certain stock threshold, it's nice to be able to ramp yourself, right? If you're having a game state where you have a lot of cards in hand but less stock, it's nice to be able to convert some of your hand into free stock. So I think it's a good tool to have.
Sorry, I was too busy reading the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, that card's sick. Thanos snap.
Yeah, card's fine.
But yeah, the crow's all right. We were talking about how RWBY doesn't have a lot of ways to generate stock, and if you are plussing aggressively, especially if you're playing like the trial deck package, where you plus at level 1 and then you play the Weiss and plus some more at level 2, this might be a decent way to turn some of those cards in your hand into some extra stock.
Mm-hmm. The time I played this card like recently has been in most recently has been in Adventure Time, where you have like the Finn and Jake top end that's like really, really stock heavy. Where sometimes like you're just like a stock short of like another Finn and Jake or something, and it's like that one extra stock's all you need.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And RWBY's finishers have been pretty efficient so far, but
I don't
if
know.
there's a
Maybe
more
you need
costly one later on, like in blue, maybe this Crow sees play.
It might help you allow you to play the counter. The counter.
Yeah.
Oh, you get your money counter online, yeah.
All right.
Mm.
Next card, Brian.
All right, we've got Scarlet David. The character facing this card can't move to another stage position, anti-runner, and when this card attacks, choose one of your remnant trait characters, and that character gets 1500 power. So he is potentially swinging in at 3k anti-runner or pumping power elsewhere.
Okay, hear me out. This idea isn't amazing, but as a one-of, if you are playing the Jean level 1, I stole this idea from Ian TCG. I tuned into his brewing stream. He was playing this card because so many people are playing runners. If you're playing Jean level 1, if your opponent plays a runner, you can still stack all your reverses. Because you can buff this and he can buff himself and kill the runner. And you can still
lock the runner down.
Yeah, you can still get all your reverses. As opposed to playing Neon Cat. Because Neon Cat, like, you know, that just dunks it.
Yeah, that was something I was gonna say. Was like, why would I play this card over the Neon?
Yeah,
Like,
I think
specific,
that's the reason. Yeah,
that's really slick. Actually, I really like that idea.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Does that make the card good? I don't think you play the Jean, so I don't think so. But that's me. I think the card is fine. Keeping that in mind.
Mhm.
I think with the Jean, I really like it. That's really slick.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you an
And
out
there's
to
gonna
someone
be
leaving a single
there's gonna
runner,
be people out there who play the Jean, right? It's a
Yeah.
perfectly fine combo off of choice. So there's gonna be.
I mean,
people
it might
who
be
play
the play. I'm just like I'm somebody who's like always so overtly worried about deck speed, like hitting my refresh timing, that like things that don't get me there, I like get really skeeved out on. So that's why I went for the TD combo. But like other people, they're more willing to try out other stuff. So
Yeah,
You don't have to apologize, Carmen. I think I'm with you there. I think I like the trial deck stuff's like more my knee jerk.
yeah.
But that's it. It looks more fun to me.
I like the John. I think that's what I'm gravitating toward first, at least. But we shall see.
I mean, the Scarlet
Little,
David definitely
Little
has
Scarlet David, yeah.
really good synergy with the Jean. Is like a 1 or 2 of. All right, next. Nadir Shiko. Your other remnant character in the middle position of your center stage gets 1500 power. When your opponent plays a climax, you can send this card to stock.
A weird combination of effects.
Yeah, I was going to say the first effect and the second effect do not synergize at all. But they exist on this card. This guy has pink hair, so
I think I played some like a similar profile to this before. It's like kind of it's like a versatile card, right? It's like a one-of spot. Like if it's on your field just to like pump the middle lane, like 1500 is like a actual solid amount to your middle lane. And then if you need to turn it into free stock, it's free stock. It just feels like 2 different axes.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that if your opponent slams a climax, you have to choose between keeping the power to the middle lane or getting that extra stock.
that part sucks.
Yeah, I throw it into center stage and then put it on the wings. Opponent plays climax, yeet him into stock. Don't see him again until you have to pay for your counter.
They should have called this card Goldilocks, dude. Because when he's just right, he's just right. But otherwise, you don't play him.
Work with the gold trim.
All right, next.
All right, I got a Zedong. Pay 1, pitch a card. When you level up, you may pay cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 remnant character, reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, and shuffle your deck. And you may rest this card, choose one of your remnant characters, and that character gets 1500 power until end of turn. The level up is awkward.
Is this a new profile? Like I've seen like on level up like pay search.
Yeah, the
Raw
fact
plus,
that
but like the drop search.
this being a filter is very weird. Maybe in a standby deck, this card slaps.
Maybe.
It's power, it's filter going into your next level. If your hand is heavy, it goes and gets a filter card, maybe. I don't know, though. There are some implications with this card. I don't think this card is very good, but it is interesting because it is new and it has not existed before. But I think I'm probably with Devin. I think it's like a D+, D- in there somewhere. Maybe something can make this work, but this card's weird.
The act power is kind of nice. It lets you filter when you level up. Yeah, it's hard to evaluate. I feel like
Like a card that wants, like a deck that wants something in grave at level up, like at all costs, gives you a level up like grave out.
I mean, I guess it's an out on your opponent's turn too, or like a more reactive out, like lets you filter on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, it allows you to grab your crow counter if you need to really hit that reset button.
That's
Or just
true.
get a climax out of your hand or something. And I guess if you consider like the long-term implications of it, right? Like this, you just set this in your back row, and then all game it's giving 1500 power a turn, and then you have 3 chances to drop search.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you do. I mean, you probably don't do it every time, but like you have multiple like
It is there.
chances. It's a weird one.
All right. Next.
Cool.
Back to
We
Andy.
got Fox Alistair. When this card final attacks, you can pay 1. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters. That character gets minus a level for the turn. And when he gets reversed, if they're level 0 or lower, you can kill that character. Okay, I remember this. I remember seeing this card get spoiled, and I actually think it's kind of good. The fact that it's like a level 0 bomb that can then upgrade itself into a level 1 bomb is actually kind of sweet. And then there's like other implications of it too. You can shrink one of your opponent's other lanes so you can get a side attack, right? Like you can attack your own shit lane with this card, and then level down one of your opponent's characters in another lane so you can get a side attack.
Yeah.
I think it's like actually a pretty solid, like really versatile card. But I think it's like, how do you find room to play this over the live Ren?
I don't hate it.
tough.
But the problem is finding slots for it. Yeah.
I hate it.
Agreed.
I'll be that guy. I don't like it. Don't like it.
We hate standby. We bomb standby all day with this.
Ruby's just too good of a set to play this card.
You know what? I agree. I think this set would have to be really bad to want to play this. And I think the set is not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Not by a long shot. All right. Brian, go ahead.
All right. We have Junior Zhang. All of your other remnant characters gain 500 power continuous on both players' turns. At the beginning of your climax phase, choose one of your characters, and that character gains 1,000 power for the turn.
Keep doing it. They just can't keep getting away with this. What?
This card is level 1. It's level 1. Austin has married life without a climax and global power.
Wasn't there a level 0 that did that?
Yeah,
Same
but
thing?
it needed a climax. This is the beginning of climax phase, and it's colored. It's level 1. Like you have to have color identity to play it.
I think I'd rather just play one of the level
other card
zeros that do
was
basically the
level
same
0.
thing.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's worse.
I mean, unless you are already meeting your quota on 0.
If you're already in red, if you're already
yeah.
in red, it's straight better. But got to be in red. All right, next. Oh, I got the Nora. Nora winning advice. During your turn, if you have another remnant character, this card gets plus 3k. And then when this card is placed on the stage from your hand, you may pay 2. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 climax with the same card name as a climax in your waiting room. Reveal it to your opponent, put in your hand, shuffle your deck. This card got me to Japan. This card fucking slaps. That second effect is sick. And the card that I played didn't even fucking have a first effect.
I think there's also the scene where she says, "I'll break their fucking kneecaps."
Jesus.
Maybe the SR says that.
Oh,
this card slaps. Like,
Usually I'm not too much of a fan of like the pay to search cards, but searching for a climax is way better than searching for a character.
I mean, climax tutor, when you need it, you need it. And
That's
this
like
is-
insane in the
this is
membrane.
on demand, yeah.
yep, on-demand climax is great.
Then it's a good off. It's like a good utility one also.
yeah,
'cause
it's-
Yeah,
65.
it's also just a
65
65 for no reason. Like, I
Pair this
can't
with a
stress this
John.
enough. I played a 1-0 blue 4K, where blue was not a main color in my deck, just to play this effect. This is in the most played color in your deck, and it's a 6/5 attacker. This
Play
card
with the Jean.
fucking slaps.
Seems
Dump
good,
your
yeah.
power on this.
Maybe.
Your reverse effects, right? Wasn't there that shitty like 107k we were looking at earlier? Why not just play this Nora?
Yeah, just play this.
Well, because the other one you get another effect for getting a reverse.
I don't even remember what the other effect
was like
on the
draw-
other
it was
one.
like
we
draw
just
ditch.
reviewed it like half an hour ago, and I forget.
It was like draw ditch. It wasn't good.
Whatever.
This card
Yeah,
does slap.
I didn't
though.
even remember it. This card, bona fide slapper. I'll remember this card in 30 minutes.
All right. Next. Devin, go ahead.
We got a 2/1 Peter Port. Let's see. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pitch a card. If you do, choose one remnant character in your waiting room, return it to your hand, and it is a level 2 bomb.
Just a bomb.
It's cringe.
Gross.
It kills level 2
Cringe.
standby targets.
Peter
and it filters your hand.
Porker. Look, he even has the pig behind him.
Professor Peter
He's
Pig.
Peter Porker. He's got the pig on the board.
he's got a boar.
I think it's okay. It filters your hand. It kills level 2 standby.
Level
targets.
2 bombs are.
Our shit.
Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
C-.
I like a level 2 bomb better than a level 2 anti-change nowadays. Anyway,
I agree with that.
For what it's worth. Because the Dachis are just so common.
If it was a striker and it had more power, it'd actually be somewhat playable.
It's a suicider. You don't need more power, Devin.
Print more 2/1 Mikos. Print more 2/1 3500s that gain 10k. Those cards fucking slap. Like, the more I play those cards are sick. Like, these cards suck.
Don't talk about Peter like that.
I will talk about Peter.
Don't talk
like
shit
that.
on Peter.
Next card. Andy, go ahead. Tell me about it.
Alright. I'll tell you about Velvet Scarlatina. 2/1. Everybody gets 1,000 power. Pay 1, rest 2 characters. Brainstorm. For each climax you hit, choose a character in your waiting room, add it to hand.
That's a mob card.
I like it a lot, actually. It's like a really solid card to just like stand by out onto your field. Just upgrade your Brainstormer.
Yeah, these are fine.
Nice upgrade to your Brainstorm. Sick card. I love it.
Best girl.
Good for a standby deck.
Love Velvet.
This is literally a mob card in the same color. Just like they just ran out of ideas. What's the story behind Velvet?
She's a bunny.
She's a random.
She's a bunny
student.
girl.
She has a really
An
thick
actual bunny girl.
Australian. She's a really thick Australian accent. It's pretty cool.
Is she the one that was like fan added and then like died and didn't do anything?
No.
Is that something else?
No.
I remember
think so.
watching a video about that.
I don't know what you're talking about. You'll have to
I'm
send
not
me
sure.
the video.
I'm not sure what you're talking
I
about.
don't even remember the video. You know what? We've been at this for a long time. Everything's starting to bleed together into one 3D animated mess.
She gets bullied by Carden Winchester
Yeah.
because of the ears.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
race,
she's got an
racism
awesome weapon.
against the animal people.
Oh yeah, the Beastman. I do know that about RWBY, that there's Beastman discrimination. Brian. Go ahead.
Brian.
We got this 2/1 event. Choose 2 characters in your waiting room. Return them to your hand. Choose 1 card in your hand and put it into your waiting room. Its magical glove appears.
It is magical glove appears. That's good. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a TD card, yeah.
I'm pretty biased. Magical. I've been playing a lot of Magical Girl appears recently. Playing a lot of Symphogear.
It's solid when it's solid. Man.
Yeah, well,
Fine
when,
profile.
in the right
deck.
deck, it is good.
Does what it do, Yugi.
Yeah, it does what it do. What it do, Yugi.
I do like the fact that, at least in the ReZero version, it has Subaru holding one hand and the other copy in the deck is him holding the other hand when Ram's putting her fingers up.
There's a RAM version and a RAM version.
Why doesn't this go to memory? Ignite module goes to memory.
We can't all be Symphogear.
Stop talking like Symphogear is privileged. It had 7 sets. It was good once, and then it got
Privileged
banned.
enough to get banned into oblivion.
Oh my god! It was good for 6 months. It was good for like fucking 4 months.
Symphogear is privileged enough to have good art.
Delete it from existence.
Fair.
It does have good art, yeah. This card has good art. Maidens.
Love.
You have 5 or more other remnant characters. Choose a character in battle, and that character gets the following ability. This card cannot deal damage to a player. Choose one of your characters, gets 1500 power. It is a full field money counter. Even so, this is a reason to play RWBY. Money.
Card's really, really good.
Yeah.
Like this deserves like an actual rating, I think. Like
Yeah, I
really,
mean,
really like money counter.
Money counter is even full field money counters are. It's probably an A tier profile. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super good.
And the fact
Yeah.
that it's versatile enough to give power to is like really nice. Your opponent can like play around it kind of if they like have a wind.
You can give
or
the
somebody,
power
like,
to another lane.
kill a character, but
The power
Yeah,
is not. The power on these is never limited to the lane that you're played it in. These full field monies. They're
even
all the
better.
exact same. Yeah. You can get tricky with it. But yeah, money counter's good. This is a reason to build your deck around playing money. So, is what it is.
Do what it do.
Is that all for red?
That's it for
It's all
red.
for red.
All right, we'll see everybody in blue.